What is going on, everybody? Off the Mic Sports Network here with some sports content for you. Because we're in the month of August, and like I said, I've been doing a lot of wrestling content because that's really connected with the audience, and also it's been a kind of a slow and grinding summer, really post NBA finals and like college stuff is now wound down, but now we're heading into the college football season's a couple weeks away, and obviously preseason football heading towards the season beginning in September. And you guys know I do Browns thoughts on here because I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. And um, the discussion going on with the Cleveland Browns is really what's going on with the quarterback position because, it seems like Kenny Pickett has been one of those favorites. Joe Flacco was brought in as a veteran. Then you obviously have the two rookies, Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. And now they've also brought in Tyler Snoop Huntley. So Tyler Huntley's now back with the Browns again because there's been injuries littered up and down. And basically they have 5 quarterbacks in the roster, which is just ridiculous. But I saw something on social media and a guy who, can be a charismatic and entertaining broadcaster. He had a decent early surge in his career before ultimately flaming out due to injuries. RG3. RG3 is the guy engages for content. But he said something that the Browns basically, and let me pull this up here. This was from a couple days ago. Shedeur Sanders is being set up to fail in Cleveland, but God's got him showing out even with limited reps. Okay. So I think we have the wrong idea about Shedeur Sanders. Everybody is still up in their feelings because this guy was at one point propped up to be a top 5 pick for whatever reason and fell to the 5th round. And everybody all of a sudden, because of his last name, thinks that all of a sudden he is owed heaven and earth. And what I don't understand from people like RG3 is why do you think the Browns are setting him up to fail? He should be trying to grind through all of these situations. Just because his last name is Sanders doesn't mean that he is owed jack shit. If Shedeur Sanders is as good as everybody says he is, and I saw him in college, talented guy, very accurate, had a very accomplished college career. But that being said, he was a 500 quarterback at the Division I level. 500 quarterback at the Division I level. His teammate, one of his best friends, Travis Hunter, won the Heisman Trophy last year. He had talent around him. He also had his dad as his head coach throughout his entire career. This is the first time that he's ever had to really do anything on his own. What I like about what Shedeur has done in camp is, for the most part, he has said all of the right things. He hasn't complained, and he's gone out there and done everything that has been asked of him. And you know what's funny about everybody saying, hey, Shedeur's being set up to fail? The guy is starting the preseason game on Friday against the Carolina Panthers. Yes, he's not going to have his top weapons out there, but you know what? Isn't that a good opportunity to prove that you're worthy? This guy had the Heisman Trophy winner with him. He had talented receivers at Colorado. He had the head coach was his father. You've got to earn everything that you can in the NFL. The Browns didn't need to take him. There's speculation that Dion was the one who called in the favor to Jimmy Haslam to make sure that Shedeur was taken by the Browns after falling down the board the way that he did in stunning fashion. Dylan Gabriel was taken 2 rounds ahead of this guy. Why did the Browns take him? Jimmy Haslam owes the team, and, he's going to do whatever it means to, generate buzz and generate interest, and ultimately what is going to generate him the most money and, clicks and interest is bringing in a high-profile name like Shedeur Sanders. So listen, if Shedeur Sanders is as good as everybody tells me that he is, and like I said, I don't dismiss, he is a talented kid. But there's a reason he fell to the 5th round, because he's had all of the spoiled nature of what being a Sanders and being a son of one of the greatest players that the NFL, one of the greatest athletes that the NFL or any professional sport has ever seen in Deion Sanders. So that comes with the territory. And if you're not nearly as good as what your superstar dad was, and your megastar dad and, big time celebrity personality is that you've got to have some sort of distinguishing characteristic to make you warrant, having all the hoopla around you. And based on what the pre-draft process told us, this guy was very entitled. So I'm sorry if you guys think that Shedeur Sanders is somehow being set up to fail. That's how this works, man. That's how this works when you're a rookie, man. You are basically being set up to fail. And it's all about overcoming and adapting to the NFL mindset. And if Shedeur is as good as everybody says that he is, saying, hey, he was comparable to Cam Ward, then hey, he should have no problem beating out fellow rookie Dylan Gabriel. He should have no problem beating out Joe Flacco. He should have no problem beating out Kenny Pickett. Because if you look at those names in a microscope and you look at those names kind of in like a vacuum, you realize Shedeur should beat these guys out. He should. Just because he's being positioned as like the third or fourth quarterback, the guy was drafted in the fucking 5th round. Just because his last name is different and because you saw him more at a high level doesn't mean that he deserves more opportunities than other people that have been in the NFL longer than him or were taken ahead of him. And say what you will about Dylan Gabriel, that guy accomplished more in college than Shedeur Sanders did. Dylan Gabriel went to the fucking playoff. He played for 3 different teams and was very successful. More college starts than anybody else. And I understand some of that's a product of, the old, post-COVID waiver thing. But Dylan Gabriel, despite his size, was a very accomplished quarterback. That being said, I think he was drafted a little bit higher than I expected. But clearly the Browns saw something in him. Shedeur Sanders, based off everything that I have seen, was never in the Browns' plans. They said all the right things about it, but once they took Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round, they had no intention of taking him. That was until Jimmy Haslam got a call, whether it was from Dion, whoever, or maybe it was just him on his own free will, basically saying, Andrew Berry, you're taking Shedeur Sanders. And whatever the Browns want to do with him, fine. But sorry, RG3, if you think, honest to God, that like you were in the NFL forever. Yeah, you were the 2nd overall pick. Why do you think that this isn't hard, everybody? If Shedeur Sanders is as great as everybody says he is, he would, and he didn't have all the baggage of, hey, being entitled, he would have been taken higher. He would have had more opportunities. Because he was taken in the 5th round and because of the way things are, he's going to have to earn everything and he's going to have opportunities. The first big opportunity for him is going to happen on Friday against the Carolina Panthers in that preseason game that he's going to start. If he shows up and shows out, great. He should get more opportunities. This is the opportunity knocking at the door. If he's so great, he'll do well and he'll earn opportunities. But just because his last name is a certain way and because you think that he's better than a lot of other people do, doesn't mean that he's being set up to fail. I think that narrative is bogus. So anyway, thanks so much for subscribing. A lot of wrestling content here. We're going to up the football content moving forward because there's obviously going to be a lot of interesting, narratives and a lot of sports content coming out because, the Micah Parsons story is fascinating in Dallas. Stuff apparently is going on with Aaron Rodgers, man. Like it's a weird time in the NFL, and we're heading towards the college football season. Texas and Ohio State's going to happen week 1. That's a big marquee game, so we'll have a lot coming here on the channel in the coming weeks. So I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.